Welcome back. Please like, share the video, and subscribe to the channel.
Hi everyone, welcome back to the show. I'm Alex.
And I'm Jamie. Today we are discussing a very big headline from Washington, D.C.
Right. President Trump just announced that the U.S. is leaving 66 international organizations. Wow, 66. That sounds like a huge number.
It really is, Alex. This list includes very famous groups like the United Nations climate organizations.
So wait, does this mean the U.S. will stop working with other countries on climate change?
Exactly. President Trump says these international rules are like shackles. He believes they stop the U.S. economy from growing and hurt energy production.
I see. So his goal is to focus on American jobs instead of global rules.
You got it. The administration says this move will save taxpayers a lot of money and protect American sovereignty. It's a major part of the America First strategy.
That makes sense from one side. But Jamie, what are the critics saying about this?
Well, many international allies and environmental groups are quite worried. They say this move will isolate the United States and end years of scientific cooperation.
Right, because if the U.S. isn't at the table, they can't help make the global rules.
Precisely. Some diplomats even worry about a power vacuum. This means other countries might step in and take more control over global standards.
Wow, this is a major shift in how the U.S. deals with the rest of the world.
It definitely is. And the president signaled that they are still looking at other groups to leave too.
So there might be more news like this very soon?
Most likely. It's a very busy time in politics.
Well, thank you for explaining that, Jamie. And thanks to our listeners for joining us.
See you next time.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Daily News Bites. Today, we're talking about a massive story involving oil and global power.
That's right, Alex. President Trump recently confirmed that the United States is taking control of Venezuela's oil production.
Wow, control? For how long?
He said it's for an indefinite period. That means it could be for many, many years.
Interesting. So, how did this all happen so quickly?
Well, it follows a major military operation in the city of Caracas. The previous regime was removed from power. Now there's a new interim government that is cooperating fully with President Trump.
I see. So, American companies will now extract and sell the crude oil?
Exactly. Energy Secretary Chris Wright explained that the U.S. government will oversee all sales in the global market. The money will go into special U.S. accounts to help Venezuela recover later.
Wow, that's a huge change. I also heard something about the U.S. Navy being involved at sea.
Yes, just this Wednesday, U.S. military forces seized 2 foreign oil tankers in international waters. They were allegedly breaking the oil embargo.
That is a very bold move. Do people agree with this new policy?
Well, critics say it violates international law and sovereignty. They are worried about the rights of other nations. But the White House says these steps are necessary to keep the global energy market stable and safe.
Right. And President Trump mentioned this could be a blueprint for the future, didn't he?
Yes, he suggested the U.S. might take similar actions in other countries that threaten American economic security.
It's definitely a new era for foreign policy. Thanks for explaining that so clearly, Jamie.
You're welcome, Alex. See you next time, everyone.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our Daily News Podcast. I'm Alex.
And I'm Jamie. Today we are talking about a very big number, $500 billion.
That's right. President Trump just proposed this huge increase for the U.S. defense budget for the next fiscal year.
Wow, $500 billion? That is a staggering amount of money, Alex. Why does the president want to spend so much?
Well, President Trump says the world is changing. He's worried about security in places like South America and Eastern Europe. He believes the U.S. needs a much stronger military presence to stay safe.
I see. So what exactly will that money buy?
A lot of high-tech equipment. He wants to expand the Navy's fleet of ships and improve nuclear weapons. He is also focusing on the future, like artificial intelligence and super-fast hypersonic weapons.
That sounds very advanced. But I heard he also gave a stern warning to some big companies, right?
Exactly. He spoke about companies like Boeing and RTX. He told them they must invest or lose out.
What does that mean for them?
It means if these companies don't spend their own profits on American research and factories, they might lose their government contracts. He wants them to be more efficient.
Interesting. How are people reacting to this plan?
Well, some people in Congress love it. They say it will create thousands of new jobs, but others are worried about the cost and the national debt.
Right, it is a lot of taxpayer money.
True, but Wall Street is excited. Defense stocks went up quickly after the news. Investors think this will be big business.
It's definitely a major story to watch. Thanks for joining us today to break it down.
See you next time.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our show. I'm Alex.
And I'm Jamie. Today, we have a very big story about the world's most valuable companies. Do you like using Google or your iPhone?
Well, the market is choosing a favorite. For the first time since 2019, Alphabet, the company that owns Google, is now worth more than Apple.
Wow, Alphabet is the new king. This is based on market capitalization, which is just a fancy way of saying the total value of the company on the stock market.
Exactly. So, Jamie, why is Alphabet suddenly on top?
Well, it's all about AI, artificial intelligence. Alphabet is using its powerful AI, called Gemini, to make Google Search and their cloud services much better. Investors are very excited about it.
I see. That makes sense. But what happened to Apple? I see iPhones everywhere.
Right, but Apple is having a hard time lately. iPhone sales are slowing down in some countries, and they are facing new government rules. Also, some people think Apple is a bit slow to use AI compared to Google.
That is a big deal. Even President Trump has mentioned how important these tech giants are for the American economy. President Trump wants to make sure these companies stay strong and competitive globally.
You're right. Under President Trump's leadership, the focus on American business growth is huge. Right now, Alphabet is winning that race because of this AI premium.
It's amazing. Alphabet's cloud business is also growing faster than ever before.
Yes, it's not just about searching for things on the internet anymore.
So is Apple finished?
Oh, definitely not. Experts say Apple will show us new software and hardware later this year. They might take the lead back soon.
Well, for now, Alphabet is number one. Thanks for joining us today.
See you next time.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to our podcast. I'm Alex.
And I'm Jamie. Today we have some huge news about your iPhone and your money.
That's right. JP Morgan Chase is taking over the Apple Card program from Goldman Sachs. It is a massive banking shift.
Wow, that sounds important. But for our listeners who are new to this, what does it actually mean?
Well, Jamie, JP Morgan is now the largest bank in the U.S. They will manage millions of Apple Card accounts. Goldman Sachs wanted to stop lending money to regular people because they were losing money.
I see. So Goldman Sachs is leaving and JP Morgan is coming in. Is this good for the economy?
Many people think so. President Trump often talks about keeping the American economy strong and competitive. This deal shows that major U.S. banks are still growing and changing to stay on top.
Exactly. President Trump follows these business deals closely because they affect so many citizens. But what happens to people who use the Apple Card right now?
Don't worry. Experts say the move will be seamless. That means it will be very smooth. Your digital card will still work perfectly on your iPhone.
That's a relief. I love using my phone to pay for coffee.
Me too. JP Morgan also gets the Apple Savings Account program. They really want to work with Apple's loyal customers.
It makes sense. Apple users stay with the brand for a long time. But I heard Goldman Sachs is losing a lot of money to leave this deal.
Yes, about $1 billion. It's a big price to pay to exit.
Wow, that is a lot of money. It's amazing how these giant companies move.
It really is. It's a strategic win for Apple and a big step for JP Morgan.
Thanks for explaining that, Alex.
Anytime. See you all in the next episode. Welcome to the Tech Talk Podcast. I'm Alex.
And I'm Jamie. Today, we're looking at the future. We are talking about the CES 2026 Tech Show in Las Vegas.
Right. It's the biggest electronics show in the world. This year, everyone is talking about humanoid robots.
Wow, humanoid robots? Do they look like people?
Exactly. Companies like Samsung and Dreamy showed robots that can fold your laundry and even clean your kitchen.
That sounds like a dream. No more chores for me. You know, President Trump has said he wants the United States to be the world leader in these new technologies.
Yes, President Trump is very interested in how these robots can help our economy and our homes.
It's amazing. But it's not just robots, right? I heard about something called integrated AI.
Exactly. Integrated means everything is connected. Now, your fridge, your lights, and your security system can all talk to each other using one simple hub.
So I don't need 10 different apps on my phone anymore?
Not at all. It's all unified. Oh, and Jamie, did you see the news about Lego?
The toy company? What are they doing?
Yes, they have smart bricks now. They use sensors and AI so the models children build can move and react to them in real time.
Wow, kids are going to love that. It's very educational.
It really is. And for the adults, companies like NVIDIA are making better AI chips for self-driving cars. They make driving much safer by helping the cars see better.
It feels like we are living in a science fiction movie, Alex.
You're right. CES 2026 shows that AI is finally becoming a practical part of our daily lives.
Well, that's all for today's news. Thanks for listening.
See you next time. Welcome to the show. I'm Alex.
And I'm Jamie. Today we are talking about a very big number, 500%.
Wow, 500%? That sounds like a huge tax. What is it for, Jamie?
Well, President Trump is supporting a new law called the Energy Freedom and Security Act. It puts a 500% tariff, that's a giant tax, on products from countries that buy oil from Russia.
I see. So if a country buys Russian oil, it becomes very expensive for them to sell their goods in the United States.
Exactly. President Trump wants to isolate Russia's economy. You know, he says that countries should not help American adversaries and still expect a profit from the U.S. market.
Right. The goal is to stop the money from going to Russia's military. But which countries are most worried about this?
Mostly India and China. They buy a lot of cheap oil from Russia to power their cities. Now they have a very difficult choice to make between Russian oil and American trade.
That sounds like a tough situation. But what about people here at home? Will this change the prices we pay at the store?
That is a great question. Some experts are worried about inflation. That's when the price of things like food and clothes goes up because trade becomes difficult.
Right, and other countries might get angry and start a trade war by taxing American goods too.
Exactly. But the White House says this is necessary. They want the world to use American oil and gas instead of buying from Russia.
Wow, it is a very bold move to change how the world buys energy.
It really is. It's all about energy independence. Thanks for listening to our news breakdown today.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the show. Today, we are talking about what Americans eat.
That's right, Alex. There is some huge news about our food.
The U.S. government just released the 2026 Dietary Guidelines. This happens every few years, but this time is a big deal.
It really is. For the first time, the guidelines tell people to eat much less highly processed food.
Wait, let's explain that. What exactly are highly processed foods?
Well, think of things in crinkly packages, like chips, sugary cereals, and frozen meals. They often have too much salt, sugar, and chemicals.
Right, I see. And health experts say these foods cause health problems like obesity.
Exactly. So the new rules will change things like school lunches. Schools will now have to serve more whole foods and meals cooked from scratch.
Wow, that is a big change for students. No more prepackaged meals every day?
Not as many. They want kids to eat more vitamins and minerals.
Now, I heard some food companies are worried.
True. They say it might make food more expensive for families.
I understand that, but the government says it will save a lot of money on healthcare in the future.
You know, even President Trump's administration is supporting these changes.
That's interesting. President Trump usually favors fewer rules for businesses, right?
Yes, but the administration says the health of the American workforce is a top priority. They want workers to be strong and healthy.
That makes sense. A healthy country is a productive country.
Exactly. So maybe it's time for us to put down the snacks and grab an apple.
I think you're right, Jamie. Thanks for the update.
See you next time.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to our podcast. Today, we have some big news about a very big, cold island.
You mean Greenland, right? I heard it's been in the news a lot lately.
Exactly. President Trump is very interested in Greenland. He wants the United States to buy it or perhaps start a long-term lease.
Wow, that sounds like a huge deal. Why does he want to do that?
Well, President Trump says Greenland has many valuable natural resources, like minerals under the ice. Also, its location in the Arctic is very important for North American security.
I see. It's a strategic spot. But does Denmark want to sell it? They own it, right?
Right, they do. But the Danish Prime Minister says no way. She actually called the idea absurd and said Greenland is definitely not for sale.
Oh, wow. That sounds like a very tough conversation between leaders.
It is. Now things are getting a bit tense. The White House even hinted that they might change how they work with Denmark on military defense if they don't talk about it.
That sounds serious for two countries that are usually friends. But what do the people who live in Greenland think?
That is the most interesting part, Jamie. Many people there want to be independent from Denmark. They think a closer relationship with President Trump and the U.S. might help them become their own country faster.
So they might actually want this?
Some do. There might even be a special vote in 2026 to decide their future.
You know, 2026 is not that far away. This story isn't over yet.
Definitely not. We'll be watching to see what happens next week when officials meet to discuss it.
Thanks for explaining this, Alex.
You're welcome. See you next time. Welcome to the show. I'm Alex.
And I'm Jamie. Today we're talking about a major news story regarding President Trump and the future of healthcare.
That's right. President Trump is asking Republican lawmakers to be more flexible to help finish a new healthcare deal.
Flexible? That sounds interesting. What exactly is the main problem they are facing?
Well, it is about something called the Hyde Amendment. This is a long-standing rule that stops federal money from paying for most abortions. Usually, Republicans are very strict about this.
Oh, I see. So President Trump wants his party to change their stance to reach an agreement.
Exactly. The president's goal is to lower health care costs for voters before the midterm elections. He says if they find a middle ground, they can finally move forward and help the people.
Wow, that is a big change. But I imagine some people in his party are unhappy about this, right?
You're right, Jamie. Some leaders, like Speaker Mike Johnson, are very upset. They say this goes against their core principles. It is definitely causing some tension.
I can imagine. But does this mean a healthcare deal is actually possible now?
Well, it gives people a glimmer of hope. Some senators from both parties have been trying to work together for weeks. Now that President Trump is open to negotiating, they might finally pass a bill to lower insurance prices.
That would be huge for many families. It is all about finding a balance, isn't it?
Exactly. We have to wait to see if the rest of the party follows President Trump's lead on Capitol Hill.
Thanks for the update, Alex. This was very helpful.
No problem. Thanks for listening, everyone. See you next time.